It takes a lot of nerve to get ready for the NFL season. What are the rookies going through this week as they get ready for preseason game number 1? A lot of pressure on Locked On Chiefs.
From the land of the free and the home of the Chiefs, this is the Locked On Chiefs podcast.
Pressure makes diamonds, and we're going to hope that that's what happens for the Kansas City Chiefs. We're going to run it down for you today. Thanks for making us your first listen here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. That's what we do on Locked On Chiefs. We cover your team. We thank you for being with us. Like, sub, hit the bell. For those of you that are on YouTube already, those of you on audio, we appreciate you. You everydayers, you guys are always here for us, and you always check it out every single day on every platform, and we appreciate you. You can get that much more on the text line at 816-357-8781. Check out KC Chiefs Corner for Chris's work over on his Substack. You can find me at NFL 33 on my Substack, where my staff looks at the rest of the league as well. You can find me on RGR Football, my other channel as well. We have tons going on because it's football season, and we know that we have to run it down from every angle we can. Today, we are taking a look at a rare day off as the Chiefs kind of get ready for what is emulation period, I call it. What does a day off look like? What is it supposed to do? What's the work that goes into it? That's coming up later in the show. Before that, what the preseason run really is and how it ticks up. That's coming right here. And the first and probably the most important thing, veterans aren't affected by this as much, I don't think, but for rookies, we're going to start with how they face what's happened so far and what happens next in training camp. There's a ton there, and the competition's already off and flying, and we know that there are position battles. We've been talking about them nonstop. But overall, when you take a step back and you are a rookie in this league, that you come into what is a roster that has a couple of things it needs to tweak, but it's just coming off of a Super Bowl appearance, it's difficult to break in. And the level of competition goes up in stages. OTAs was one thing. Now into training camp is another. The pads came on. That was another step. And now I think is the most significant one, where they go from just being a practice player to competing against other NFL talent. And I think that's the biggest leap that the rookies are going to make right now until they get to the regular season.
Absolutely. And you look at it and you look at how this is going to play out. You have some rookies that have been playing in bigger programs. Obviously, a Josh Simmons playing in Ohio State, playing against guys that are going to be playing in the NFL, generally speaking, for the most part. Not saying that some of the other rookies, like maybe a Brashard Smith, haven't played against NFL-type talent, but it's a different level than what you're used to. And even Josh Simmons, to an extent, is going to be going up against a different level of competition, because you may have played against guys that are going to be in the NFL at some point, but it wasn't an every week occurrence. It wasn't guys that maybe are high-level starters at the NFL level. Maybe it's just backups that are going to be playing in the NFL. It's still a different speed. It's a different type of power. It's a completely different game in the NFL, and I do think that this is going to be a huge test week 1.
Yeah, I think so as well. And I think two guys that have been going battle for battle back and forth is Josh Simmons and Ashton Gillotte. Both of them, with mutual
And you
respect,
love that, don't you?
They like to, oh, yeah, I love that. I mean, I honestly didn't think it would come already. I thought the rotation would be a little bit farther along, or would need to be farther along in order for that to happen. But the mutual respect they both seem to have for just getting through these paces, knowing each other is fighting for another role against, as you said, players that already have experience, are already NFL caliber pass rushers or pass blockers, one or the other. It goes to show that when you can draft in pairs, and I think this was all on the defensive side a couple years ago when you got Karlaftis and McDuffie in the first round, right? And now you come back and you've got three guys in particular with Simmons, Gillotte, and I'll throw Norman Lott in there as well. Three guys that are high draft picks that are still guys that you expect to come in and make an impact. For them to be able to battle so early, this might not be as much of an uptick as it is for some of the others. Guys that are playing off in coverage, guys that are in space, that don't have the physicality portion of it. I think the guys in the trenches, especially the rookies in the trenches, have an advantage here in taking that physicality up to the next level when they first get into a preseason game.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out when they actually get on the field. You're going to get hit differently. You're going to be hit with different things that you haven't seen. And the other part of this that's going to be interesting to watch is how do they prep for this? You know your technique, you know your fundamentals, but you're not going to know the players you're going to be going against like you would in a regular season game. So it's a little bit more playing on instinct versus playing with as much preparedness as you would normally have, because you're not going to know from snap to snap. You're not going to be going against the same guy, generally speaking, in this. It could be 3 or 4 different guys, and you're not going to have all the tape that you want coming at you in this situation.
Yeah, the pro personnel department will have their hands full after this week. But right now, there's only 2 teams to break down that you can scout for the professional scouting. And that goes a long way that we don't think about in terms of everybody has secrets right now, because there's rookies out there that no one's seen on film. And whatever they were when they got to OTAs, they're probably more advanced than that now. You don't know where everybody's development is.
And don't forget, not only that, but you're getting into a situation where maybe they did something specific in college. When you start talking about the rookies, maybe they did something technically in college that they're not going to be doing at the pro level, because their pro coach has come in and said, no, we need you to do it this way, this specific way. So going back and looking at college film isn't necessarily going to help you either. So there's different things that are going to be playing into this. It's always fascinating to watch rookies play week 1 because you see some of them get sped up. You see some of them look like they've been doing it for years. It's just going to be intriguing to see how the matchups go. And the one thing that I'm really looking forward to, and I know we're talking mainly about rookies, but it's also when you start talking about Josh Simmons, I think you have to talk about Kingsley Suamataia next to him and the passing off between those two. Because I do think that regardless of seeing, generally seeing, defensive tackles, defensive ends, you're going to see, and generally speaking, the Chiefs played pretty vanilla. Other teams don't. And whether or not they do pass offs, whether or not they do, twists and stunts and all that in the preseason, who knows? But it's getting the chemistry between those two guys together, getting on the same page, figuring out how you're going to do things, and getting used to what you're going to be doing going into the regular season, because it does look like those two guys have tied down their starting jobs.
Yeah, it does appear that way. But even from Josh's own mouth, one of the things that he needs to work on is not the physical. For a guy that we are worried about an injury coming into this, it's not the physical that we have to be worried about. He's trying to identify calls, and in particular, how he and Kingsley work together as a pair. That makes a whole lot of sense, and something we're going to have to see develop over time. But they're off to their first start, and they're about to take it up a notch. This week, they start preparing for this. It's a regular game week starting tomorrow. We'll tell you about it coming up next. This episode is brought to you by Fantasy from Yahoo. And at Yahoo Fantasy, it's the best time of year because it's NFL kickoff. It's almost here, and that means that fantasy football season is in full swing. And this year, Yahoo Fantasy is turning things up with fantasy football experience like never before. This year, me and the Locked On Chiefs are going to be playing on Yahoo Fantasy, and you should do whatever you can, whether you're a first-timer or a veteran making your millionth league like I have. I have one league that I've been playing in for 22 years, and it's always been on Yahoo, and it's going to continue that. And they're going to do all these updates, a huge slew of them, to kind of take it up to the next level to celebrate 28 years of fantasy football greatness. Yahoo Fantasy is dropping 28 big new features over 28 days throughout August. It's already started. To kick it off, they already dropped the Fantasy Guillotine Leagues, a killer new way to play fantasy football on Yahoo, where the lowest scoring team gets eliminated each week until there's only one team left standing. With the season around the corner now, it's time to get into the league together or give a new mode a try. You can find more on the classics. You can play head-to-head in private leagues like you always have, or just join a public league. Get in the action. Stay tuned for more killer announcements and start playing fantasy football now at yahoofantasy.com/LockedOnNFL. Elimination fantasy is what I live for. So do the Chiefs. It's just knocking off opponents one after another. And this is the part where I think professionalism starts to come into the preseason, because players have done what they need to do physically. They're learning the playbook. But now this is about preparation. This is now, treating like a Monday off, like a normal Tuesday would be in the league, so that you can get ready for this week. So it's about resting your body. It's about getting your mental reps, staying in your playbook right now so that you understand what the install is going to be when it comes up. Not just for the rookies. I know we focused on them earlier, but overall, everybody that's a newbie to this team, a free agent signing, anything, even the veterans have to like go through that process to pass that along, because everything is different in Kansas City from everywhere else in the league.
Yeah, and it's going to be intriguing to watch and see how this team gets ready. They're going to be having to travel. They're going to Arizona. That's going to be a new thing. How are they going to deal with the rigors of the NFL when it comes to the travel and the schedule and all that? That's all going to play into it. And the thing that a lot of these rookies specifically haven't dealt with is they're going to be going into a game, and some of them may play a ton because they're going to be playing, second team, third team, fourth team snaps. But there's also going to be some rookies that aren't going to play hardly any. You talk about Josh Simmons. I don't think that he's out there any further than the first string is. So he's going to be on there for maybe a quarter. We'll see. We haven't really heard from Andy Reid what their plan is for the preseason. So some of these rookies are going to get less time. But then you also have the flip side of that. Those guys that are playing the second, third, and fourth string snaps, they're going to be playing in a situation where they're not going to be suiting. Well, they're going to be suiting up, but they're not going to be playing probably first quarter, maybe even into the first half. And then they're going to come into a game where it's already been going on, and they've got to be ready to go. And it's a different pace right from the get-go. They don't get to lead into it by playing in the first quarter. It's going to be just, nope, you're in the game, go. And you got to go 100%, 110%.
And that's what this preparation week really means. It's about getting in and taking care of your body. We heard Juwan Taylor talk about his offseason injury, right? And the fact that he went to Panama, of all places, to get stem cell treatment, to try to rejuvenate that. And they did give him a little extra time. He came back, and then they gave him another day off so that Jalen Moore could go back to right tackle. I think that's also part of it here. So the coaches have a lot of responsibility this week, too, about managing not just game reps, but prep reps as well, so that you're giving guys like Taylor that clearly, in my eyes now, I don't think they want to really have him participate a whole lot in this preseason. He's got to get a few reps, but he and Trey have played together. I don't think that that's anything monumental that you got to knock a ton of rust off, but you want to get him enough to keep him active, and then you want to get Jalen Moore in there to see what he can bring next to Trey as well.
Well, and it's also interesting because I don't think that if you go back, 2 months or 3 months ago, this was their thought process as to how they're going to be dealing with this preseason game. But the Juwan Taylor injury kind of throws different things into the front. It's a great question. How much are they going to have him play? Because they want to be saving him and getting him ready for the regular season to be ready to go. But he also has to be able to make it through the regular season. And you have to wonder if this was an injury that he was dealing with at points last year that was affecting the way he was playing last year. And now he's in a situation where he's got it cleaned up. And we talk about it every single year. One of the things that really hurts Kansas City is you don't get much time off because you're playing all the way into the Super Bowl. You're playing into, the very first part of February. You get maybe 6 weeks off before you get into, free agency, which obviously the players aren't going to be doing a ton, especially if they're on a team at that point. But the point is the NFL calendar moves so quickly at this point, those players aren't getting the time off that they're used to getting. And Juwan Taylor's been here for 3 Super Bowl runs in a row. You're not getting a ton of time, a ton of downtime to be able to do things and get your body the way you want to be able to get them. And I do think that that's played into what you've seen at different times with the Chiefs' injuries.
Yeah, I think it certainly contributes. And he said that the injury happened in week 5. So coming off of a previous Super Bowl run, a shortened off season, probably more needed relaxation than training at that point. And then he gets hurt early, and he barreled through the whole season. That's something that for him in particular, whether it's about the surgical repair, the stem cell treatments, whatever it is to try to rehab and correct the issue, it's also about being able to not overtax the fact that you've gone and had to do this work that you played 3/4 of a season on last year.
Well, and don't forget, their bye week was week 6, wasn't it? So This happened week 5. He got the bye week right after the injury happened, and then you're dealing with another 15 games. I'm not doing the math, so if my math is off, sorry, but you're dealing with the rest of the regular season plus the postseason and a Super Bowl. you don't have time to really get into a situation where you can get the rehab done that you really want or get your body right. So this is going to be something that is going to be intriguing to see. And I do think that it actually kind of works in Kansas City's favor to an extent, because you're right. Trey Smith and Juwan Taylor have plenty of experience together, so they don't really need that. Getting Jalen Moore the snaps, getting him time with the ones next to some of the guys that he could be playing with. And I will also go as far as saying this. I wouldn't be surprised if you have Juwan Taylor in there for 2 series and maybe Jalen Moore comes in for Kingsley Suamatia for a couple of snaps during one of those series, just to get him some different time with the ones in that experience before Juwan Taylor comes out of the game permanently, and then he's playing right tackle the rest of the time.
That definitely could be. I think the majority of the focus will be on right tackle, but it certainly could be a merry-go-round there, because you got a lot of reps you want to try to get exposed, right? We got to remember that this game in particular is about evaluation.
Yep.
So getting ready for that means that you have to be able to get in a day's work, and you have to be prepped for that. What is that day's work? What are the expectations coming up next?
Ever wish managing your money felt easier? With Monarch Money, it can. Whether you're growing your savings or planning a big purchase, Monarch puts you in the driver's seat. It's like having your own personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money is more than a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all of your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So in addition to managing your money, you're also building wealth. I've used Monarch Money for at least 7 or 8 months now, I think, and I've loved it. It is awesome to be able to have everything at your fingertips. You see, and it budgets out your money. It shows you what you're spending your money on. It shows you your income in, your income out. It is a fantastic app. You need to go give Monarch Money a try. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNFL at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNFL for half off your first year.
Getting ready for week 1. Now, this is the week that is about prep. It's about learning how the process goes, playing the first game, and then a lot of changes happen. But particularly this day off and what you got to get done is mostly about recovery and study for the players. But that's not the only thing going on. Dave Merritt, the DB's coach, running around, checking in with some other coaches. You get a chance to get a little bit of a break, see a few things, and really take a step back, which I think is reinvigorating for the coaching staff. And then I think that does play over into the week to come. Another sighting, Matt Nagy out at Kansas's practice, helping Coach L try to get them ready for what is going to be an interesting season. Everybody kind of has their own thing to get ready for this coming week of real serious prep. The bets are pretty squared away, but what's the weirdest thing that you're looking for or you expect to happen this week?
Man, I don't know that I expect anything really weird. I'm going to be very curious when we start seeing people report back tomorrow and the players start reporting back tomorrow. Who's practicing? There's a laundry list of guys that haven't been practicing, and it's a question, okay, were you able to get right with the extra day off? Were you able to, how is that going to play into this? And the other part of it, and I'm looking at Marquis Brown specifically, do they want him to practice, or are they trying to get it to where maybe they're deciding, okay, well, we're not going to have him practice or play the first game, and it's okay if he sits out this entire week. And don't forget, he got injured the very first play of the very first preseason game last year.
The superstition side of me says, don't even play it. Just keep him off the field.
Yeah. No, I get that. And to me, I kind of wonder if they want to do that. But he needs to get out there. He needs to be out there with his teammates as well. And getting some regular season snaps or getting ready for the regular season. So I wouldn't be shocked if he plays. We did hear from Jordan Schultz right after the injury happened that it was expected to be a shorter term injury. So I expected him to be out there last Friday. He hasn't practiced since. So you have to wonder if, he misses Wednesday. I would say it's pretty likely he probably isn't going to be playing on Saturday.
Yeah, just like a regular week, right? If you can't get through the thicker part of practice, it makes sense. And I hope that there's an overabundance of caution when it comes to Hollywood. Obviously, a lot of fans' reaction to this injury has been, "Oh, shocker, Hollywood's hurt again." I don't feel like it's an injury-prone situation. I don't feel like this happens all the time. I feel like it was a pretty significant injury that was fluky last year. But now I think it is worth guarding against the propensity to re-injure, especially with a lower leg injury like that.
Yeah, and there's no reason to push him at this point. You already know what you have in him. He knows what he's doing in the offense. And the other reality that I think could play into this just a little bit is the Chiefs have a ton of wide receivers they have to get reps to and they have to get figured out. That's a position that it's not going to hurt them to have him miss a couple of days, because the reps to go to some of the younger guys or some of the other guys that are pushing for the roster make a lot of sense.
They need it. I mean, and they have a tougher puzzle to piece together this year because of the Rasheed situation and any injury time that allows Hollywood to heal and take those hits. Well, not hits, but those reps off of his total click count. I think that's probably a good thing, and it exposes you because, as we talked about yesterday, some of the guys that we don't have currently projected for the roster are making a little bit of noise. And I think that's probably the most important thing, to give them the microphone and see what they come back with.
Yeah, and this is the best time that they have a chance to really make a name for themselves. And it's not just a matter of Hollywood being out. Sky Moore, even though we both don't think he's going to make the roster, he was taking snaps with the ones and twos at times. Who's stepping up in his place? Those are extra reps that somebody else is getting. So it all plays into how this is going to work out. And then you start looking at the other side of it. And what I'm really excited about, I know we're prepping for this game on Saturday, but what I'm really excited about, what we've seen so far from Robert Tonyan, who we talked about a little bit on yesterday's show, can it continue this week? And is he going to show it in the preseason game? Because he could have a bigger chance than either you or I had any thought. And I mean, in this specific game, with all the injuries at that position.
Yeah, there's plenty of opportunity there for him to seize it, to take it by the horns, to be honest, to make naysayers like me stand up and actually believe it. He's already got all the love in the world from Matt Derrick, and that's fine. That has his thing going. If some of us are still apprehensive, and this is an opportunity for him and the offense to continue what I see in camp as a direct correlation of pushing the ball downfield, to attacking the ball more aggressively. If it shows up even in this first preseason game that the protection can hold up enough, I think Tonyan might be one of the guys that reaps the most rewards.
Well, and it's going to be interesting as well. What do they do with Travis Kelce? How much do they let Patrick Mahomes play? I expect that Travis is going to be on the field for at least the first series, but how much is he going to be on the field after that?
Yeah.
Because I don't think that they go into this game, and again, like I said, that we haven't heard from Reid exactly what is going to happen. We'll hear that later this week. But generally speaking, from what we've seen in the past, Mahomes is going to play probably most of the first quarter. Now, obviously, that's what they've said before, and sometimes he's out if they play very well the first drive. We'll see if that changes. But I'm going to be curious, what do they do with Travis Kelce? What do they do with Noah Gray? And then you get into Robert Tonyan, you get into Trey Watson. You're going to have both of those guys. And a guy like Tonyan is a guy that's 31 years old. You don't want him necessarily taking a ton of snaps in a preseason game. How's that going to play into things when it's Trey Watson that you have backing him up right now?
Yeah. You got to be mellow with it. You got to get enough to get it done without overdoing it and stressing the player out. Because there is a limited number of routes left in Robert Tonyan. I don't care how good he's doing at camp. There is a finite number of routes that he can run.
Yeah. And, with Bernstein being out, we're assuming at this point, I guess I'm assuming that he's going to be out this week. And Wiley still not being back. It's going to be something. How are you going to use that tight end position? I will say this, and I know you're going to like this a little bit. It makes me wonder if they're going to end up having to use Carson Steele in more of a role that is not fullback related because they're so short at that position. Mm-hmm. He doesn't have to be able to play a specific tight end type role. He can be the off tight end and be fine as long as you're talking about blocking or running some, some shallow routes. He doesn't have to be great. If he's doing more of what you need him to do, that just helps his case for trying to make the roster, which I still think is a long shot.
Yeah, he needs to do one thing: hold on to the damn ball. That's it.
Well, that too, but yeah. I mean, you saw the depth chart that came out. He's the only fullback that they have listed.
FB1. I mean, when you're the only guy in camp, you get that advantage, right?
Yeah. Is it going to make a difference this year? Are they going to be able to keep it? I don't know. But when you look at the fact that he was a core special teamer last year, played a ton of special teams for him, and at this point you have all the tight end injuries, it makes sense that it's possible he is going to see a lot more work at a different position than just the fullback role or even a running back role to an extent, because I do think that they probably would have given him some carries, though in this situation I'm not sure it's going to be the same just because of all the other injuries at the tight end position and what you're going into this game with.
Agreed. And I think that it'll buy him a lot of goodwill if he's able to step into some of those roles. I do want to see him stick around, not just for the fullback options, but for the running back piece of it, because I think he has a lot to learn, and stylistically, he can, I think, graft some of the things Kareem Hunt does well in short yardage and use that to his advantage. Kareem is not going to last forever. So you want to have another short yardage back that you might be seeing develop for next season or 27 or whatever we're getting into.
Well, I'll be shocked if Kareem Hunt is able to do what he did most of last season this year. And it's not because I don't think he is capable of being that type of player. I just don't know that they're going to be able to get him the snaps or be able to keep him limited enough with the snaps to be as effective for 17 games as he was at times last year. That is going to be a tall task, especially if they start giving him most of the stuff inside the 20-yard line. If they do that, that becomes an issue, especially obviously with the short yardage stuff too.
Yeah, the tank is not as deep as it used to be. They got to be careful with that, as we saw last season. But we're going to keep an eye on it for everything for you. Matt Derrick's going to be with us tomorrow. We're going to be back all week getting ready for this Saturday ball game. And yes, folks, remember, it is Saturday this week, so be prepared. We appreciate you guys being with us. Make sure that you like and sub and do all the things that are required. We hope that you have a good day, and we'll join you tomorrow.